こんなタイトルだけど、リアルなサバゲを期待してるなら無駄なんで。
いい加減にしろその皮。ちゃんとやるぞサバゲ。
So, initially I looked at some promotional art for the show and sarcastically thought to myself, awesome, more girls with strangely colored hair. This ought to be great. Nah, I'm just kidding. I didn't think that at all. In fact, I was actually pretty excited to check it out after hearing a decent amount of praise for it. But Sabagebu means survival game club, and it makes me wonder, what exactly does that mean? Survival games? What exactly are they trying to survive against? Perhaps it's the horrors of a strange jungle or a trap-riddled winter wasteland. Well, turns out that's sort of true, but at the root of all the girls' antics is a simple game of airsoft. Introducing Sonokawa Momoka, our main character and hereby known as the best girl of all time. Actually though, Momoka is amazing because most of the time she doesn't give a fuck and will ruthlessly cut bitches down if it means she'll be the last one standing. Don't let the pink hair fool you. Her ability to assess a situation and subsequently mow down her opponents with a few shots of her trusty Beretta makes her the most deadly member in the club. She's witty and underhanded, not to mention a total sadist most of the time. In moments where a character from another show would lovingly pick a friend back up, she'll just clothesline them or shoot them in the head instead. And even when you're expecting her to do something like this, it still hits in a way that always left me laughing. That isn't to say that Momoka is a one-dimensional character either. There are moments where she momentarily drops her guard, allowing just a little bit of sympathy to manifest in that cold heart of hers. But it's the sort of deranged ways in which she gains satisfaction that are the most enjoyable to watch. Momoka mercilessly gunning down elementary students or being uncomfortable around Maya's big ol' titties will always be funny to me, especially when the narrator matter-of-factly passes off her attitude to anything and everything as simply being her style. In short, and to reflect her brutality, Momoka is a total bitch, and it's nothing short of amazing. As great as Best Girl is, the rest of the cast aren't just there to make up the numbers. The leader, or should I say president, of Sabagebu is Otori Mio, who is arguably the most admired girl in school thanks to her good looks and eccentric personality. It's definitely the latter of the two that makes her so interesting though. Seriously, her first appearance is marked by her pointing desert eagles in an old man's face. Granted, he was perving on Best Girl, and again, they're just airsoft guns. But it's the manner in which she'll blatantly do absurd shit that makes her a fun character, because she gives just about as little fucks as Best Girl, which is probably why she was so drawn to Momoka in the first place. The rest of the club aren't quite as interesting, but still pretty fun all the same. You've got the aforementioned Tits McGee, who I'm being mean to for no reason, because she isn't as bumbling as you might expect. Although in comical fashion, she's the first one to die in every episode. Then you've got a dual submachine gun wielding otaku, a lolly masochist who does shit that's just like, what? And an at times gun-toting and altogether strange platypus who's never really explained. And I'm okay with that. Add in some weird side characters like Best Girl's mother, who's also strangely adept at wielding firearms, and it makes for a fun cast that I honestly enjoyed every second of. Let's get back to Best Girl though. Our story starts out train-bound, where, again, we find some old guy creeping around only to be held at gunpoint by Mio and subsequently kicked out of said train. Of course, toy guns or not, Mio was hauled away by the station police, protesting that she was merely helping. However, it's not long until fate, or whatever you want to call it, emerges in the form of our faux 50 caliber firing club president. Momoka, noticeably weirded out and yet kind of intrigued by the reappearance of this stranger, follows her away from campus into the woods, only to find a decrepit-looking shack of sorts. In the process, she gets captured by the club, who thinks she's a spy because of her snooping. To no one's surprise, it's just a misunderstanding. And after vaguely explaining the group's purpose, Mia lets lets Momoka try out a pistol to get a better understanding of what it is they do. Turns out, Best Girl has a lot of natural talent for this sort of thing, impressing the club enough that Mio invites her to join. As you might expect, Momoka refuses, but after another day of antics, she's inadvertently roped into taking part in the group's silliness. At which point they visit an airsoft shop to get her a gun, and, better yet, to practice. And it's in these scenes where the show really comes to life for the first time, dramatically exaggerating the girls' battles and highlighting Best Girl's propensity for tactics and subterfuge. From this point, each episode is one ridiculous moment after another, where the group consistently find themselves in hilarious situations and exciting fights. Sabagebu was handled by Studio Pierrot, who've had a long, largely successful career. In doing some preliminary research on the company, I realized they're the studio that handled Yu Yu Hakusho, which was a hugely important show for me as a kid when I was just getting into the medium. And despite some, stumbles recently, I think they did a pretty good job with Sabagebu. It's colorful, vibrant, and fun. Again, the show is full to the brim with all manner of great reactions from the cast, but it's the action scenes where the animation quality is most prominent. If we're really talking style, though, Sabagebu shines when it goes back to the club members and how they interact with each other. And a lot of that revolves around the show's comedic timing, zaniness, and honestly just overall lack of fucks to give, which places it amongst the best anime I've watched in a long while. The thing about Sabagebu is that it's technically a shoujo, meaning it's geared towards teenage girls. But this seems entirely inaccurate, as a fair amount of the jokes don't even feel like they're geared towards a specific group of people. Either that or they're fairly mature, to the point that I can't really see how they decided upon a demographic. Like, I'm a 24-year-old dude, in case you couldn't tell by my voice. And yet I found myself consistently cracking up throughout my time with the show. I guess this just goes to show that at some point, genres are pointless, and that at its core, Sabagebu is clearly a comedy. For example, in a segment of an episode, Momoka and the gang straight up go Yakuza on each other in a merciless battle to the death. It's both brutal and hilarious, highlighting how funny it is to see the girls' BB guns exaggerated to ridiculous degrees, and plain amazing to see Best Girl assassinate her friends in cold blood. Just about every joke feels organic, and I think that all relates back to the sort of casual slice of life vibe the show carries throughout. No matter how insane things get, if you really think about it, well, it's just a few friends playing with airsoft guns. Not to mention, the show is very self-aware, as the narrator is always quick to elaborate that any exaggerations are all part of the girl's imagination. Add to the fact that the jokes throughout its 12-episode runtime tackle all sorts of issues in a lighthearted way, and it's well and truly a great comedy through and through. I really had a great time with this show. It was certainly more fun than I was expecting, and Momoka is easily one of my favorite characters now. Cause sure, she's an asshole, but it's all centered around petty shit, so she isn't unrelatable like a villain from a more serious series. And with episodes being split into 2 or 3 separate acts, each one its own little goofy tale, the over-the-top shenanigans never stop, until you finish the final episode and get sad that there isn't more to watch. Now I'm bummed out again. Not for long though, as I know I'll always get a laugh out of Sabagebu. While I won't claim it and Momoka are saving anime or something crazy like that, if you like comedies, especially ones that are as silly and self-aware as this one is, it won't matter if you're not super into anime. You'll laugh your ass off with this one. So, if you're feeling compelled after watching this, try out the first 3 episodes, and we'll see if you keep watching until the end. Wait, what do you mean you don't want to watch? Forget this weeb trash. Ugh, well that sucks.
Survivor 時計地獄に仏の快感さ